R3 Construction is here to assist you with damage to your home. We repair roofs on
39, that's pretty good. Well, a lot of people.
41 so far. Give it another couple minutes and then we can get started. Another minute.
Maybe before we get started, I'll just mention, once the program begins with Dr. Lawrence, up in the right-hand corner of your screen, you probably have something that says speaker view. If you click on that, it will make Dr. Lawrence kind of the center of your screen. And it's a much more enjoyable picture because it's quite a bit larger too.
I don't know about all that, Bob, but it is larger.
We can see Dr. Lawrence in all his glory.
That's right.
Well, it still looks like there's a few people coming up.
And we just hit 50
It's pretty good.
and climbing. 52, 53.
Excuse me, Mr. Swanson.
Yes, sir.
I'm with Local 4 News. We were wanting to record the doctor's presentation, and I need permission from the host, which is you, to record this. So if you could give Chase Davis, WHBF, the ability to record this so we can run something later in our shows, we'd appreciate it.
Okay, let me see if I can figure out how to do that.
QAD.
And while you're figuring that out, I'm going to remute myself and take my camera away so you guys don't have to look at me.
Okay, I figured it out, I think. So
Okay, thank you.
hopefully that'll do it.
Dr. Lawrence, are you okay with them being recorded today?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Is it okay if we get started?
Sure.
Sure.
Sounds
Yeah,
great.
let's get started.
All right. So I'd like to call the meeting to order today and welcome our members, the members of the Rock Island Kiwanis Club, the members of the Rock Island Rotary Club, and our guests. Thank you very much for coming today. And as a start for the day, I'd like to say a little blessing. It seems like lots of uncertainty around us. So many people who need prayers. Today we pray for those whose health is compromised by the coronavirus or other health issues, for those who suffer from the economic impact of the virus in travel, manufacturing, hospitality, energy, and so many other industries, for healthcare workers, first responders, teachers, and other public servants who put themselves in harm's way for us, for our leaders of the world, our countries, states, and cities, as they seek to help manage this challenge. God, it can become overwhelming, but you tell us over and over again not to be afraid. Help us to turn away from our concern with ourselves and turn our hearts, hands, and prayers toward the concerns of others. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, we're going to go on quickly with announcements. First of all, is Liz here? Is Liz Lovelace here? Well, if not, I'll say that she is taking contributions for NAMI, so you can send your contributions to the National Alliance for Mental Health through her. Okay, Chris, are you there?
She's here.
Okay. I was wondering if you had anything to report on First Day Fund.
I don't right now. We're waiting for some additional supplies. We're very, very low, and we're going to restock because the kids are having to do things a lot differently this year, and we're assuming once they go back after the quarter, we're going to have to restock in the schools. The schools have all gotten supplies for at home from us, and so we're probably going to be giving 3 to 4 times a year this year, other than the normal 2 that we do. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay, so as long as we know that the community knows that we're distributing the supplies, and we've gotten a couple of nice grants too.
Yes, we have. We had a lot. Actually, people have been very generous this year because they know the situations the schools are in. And so I think they've been very generous, and we're going to give that to the kids as much as we can.
Okay. Are there any other announcements from the Kiwanis Club? Okay, then I'd like to call upon Angela for any announcements from Rock Island Rotary.
Thanks, Marla. I don't really have any other than a reminder that our board meeting is Monday, September 21st. So it's actually in 2 weeks. It'll be on Zoom again this time. And so Bob, if you could send out the meeting invite when it gets closer to that date, I would appreciate it. And also to remind everybody that if you are not talking or asking a question, to please put your computers and your phones on mute, because even the slightest little sound can be picked up on some of these microphones. So those were the only ones I had. If anyone else from the club has an announcement, certainly now is the time. Okay.
Thank you. All right. And so I must ask, do we have any happy sad dollars today? Okay.
Well, wait a minute. I have some happy dollars. I have happy dollars.
Okay. Go
Okay.
for it.
All right. I will say I'm putting in $5 to Kiwanis, and they go this way. For $2 for our grandchildren that we had a wonderful visit with out in New York. $2 for having successful cataract surgeries on both eyes, and $1 because the Cubs are in first place.
Yay. Okay. Do we have any other happy sad dollars? Okay. Well, then I think without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker. And because I have been busy supervising the virtual learning for my grandson, his Dr. Lawrence's bio is in the other room at my grandson's desk. So I don't have a lot to say in way of introduction, but I'd like to introduce Dr. Lawrence to give us the state of the schools.
Well, again, I just want to say thank you to both the Rock Island Rotary and Rock Island Kiwanis for giving me the opportunity to share with you today a little bit about our school district and your school district, Rock Island-Milan School District 41. I'm going to take the opportunity today to just share some of our district accomplishments from the last year and some of the challenges that we faced going into the last quarter of last year, which have now led us to where we are today. And then we have a treat for you at the end of the presentation. So I am going to, okay, great. So we have running the PowerPoint is our Director of Communication, Ms. Holly Sparkman. So she's going to work with me on handling that whole piece. And then I'm going to just try and move through some of the slides and share some of the information with you in hopes to have some questions at the end. But again, moving into just last year, with everything that's happened in COVID, next slide, Holly, with everything that's happened in COVID, it's allowed us to really come together as a district. You never know what type of trials and tribulations you're gonna be faced with, but with the overwhelming challenge of dealing with COVID-19 last year, it really forced us as a district to try and see how we continue moving forward together. We have a lot of strong community support, and we knew our job was going to be to continue providing resources and meeting the needs of both our students and families. And so this one team, one goals mantra, definitely different than pounding the rock when I came in. But when you think of all the work that we have to do, regardless of the situations we're in our district, we are one team with one goal, and that is preparing our students for their future. So we're going to continue to move forward to excel and succeed. So if you look at our next slide, we want to just share a little bit of information about how we did academically. This is our report card, if you so to speak. More than 6,300 students enrolled in our district, and we were excited to still have some positive growth trends in both math and ELA when you look at our state of Illinois report card. Over the last couple of years, we've grown from 14% to 21% in mathematics, and respectively from 16% to 22% in English language arts. Again, we're not quite where we want to be, which will be matching the state or exceeding the state, but to continue having that growth over the past 4 years, it means that we are moving in the right direction. And we'd expect that to continue this year. Next slide. So going into the end of last year, our most important accomplishment in our district is to see our students finish their journey. And last year we had over 360 graduates, and those students, they earned more than $3.5 million in college scholarships and funding, as well as devoted more than 2,000 volunteer hours to a number of different organizations that our students are involved in. Our class of 2020, we had a chance to sort of recognize them. On May 30th, we did a virtual graduation ceremony. This was our way of having them get an outdoor procession, see their classmates one last time before they go off into the real world. And it was a memorable experience that we know possibly every generation of graduates from this point forward are going to want us to try and do something that was similar. And hopefully you'll get a chance to see some of that at the end of today. So I want to share just some of the accolades, and we had a number of them, even though we got to finish only 3/4 of the year. We had a number of different accolades at all levels. And so I'll talk a little bit about our elementary levels here. We partner with the Martin Luther King Jr. Center, and we have a robotics program where our students, they had a chance to participate in their first competition, and they went to state. So They qualified for state, and in January, our students had a chance to travel to Iowa State University for the statewide competition. We're excited about that. We also have students at Rock Island-Milan Center for Math and Science. They have a first logo league team. And we competed at a regional first Lego league team competition at John Deere World Headquarters in Moline. Our students placed 8th in this piece for their robots, and they won a best project, but we hope to continue improving as we get better and better at STEM, which is dealing with science, technology, engineering, and math. If I move to our junior high school students, we really focus a lot on math, and every year as a part of the annual Math Counts regional competition in Bettendorf, we do pretty well. Last year, our Edison High School Math Counts team, they placed first. And the team also had 4 students that placed in higher levels. Also, our Washington Junior High School math teams, they placed 4th, and we had a number of students that placed in the top 10. We even had several students that were recognized in the national competition. So our students are recognized here. You might know some of them: Earl Hansen, Inspire Choir. They get a chance to perform at some of our senior living facilities and community service group agencies. But our students love to get out and support our community. As we continue to move on to some of our accolades of our staff members, it's not just our students, but we have some of our administrators here. We have both Principal Kristen Allen from Washington Junior High School, and Harmon Woods from Rock Island High School were recognized as the Principal and Assistant Principal of the Year for the Black Hawk region of the Illinois Principals Association. So we're definitely proud of them. We also had recognized Ms. Jennifer Page Pearson, recognized by the Martin Luther King Jr. Center, their I Have a Dream Award. And this is given to individuals that display exceptional community service. So we are proud of supporting our community. Rock Island High School, our German program was recognized by the German American Partnership Program as a school of distinction for their continued success in fostering and growing the exchange program. So we are definitely proud of that award. And we'll continue with some more of our state musicians. So not only in German programs and some of the academics, but we go right into musicians as well. And we have a number of our students who they received honors at state level. Also, a big part of last year, we had a chance to perform with the Nova Singers and the rock group Foreigner. So to see our Rock Island High School state musicians and choirs perform with some big name performances and big name groups is truly important for us. We can't forget academics and our Illinois State Scholars. These are our students who perform in the top 10% of the state. We recognize 15 students that met those levels. And these students also are part of our group that's recognized for the Charles O. Austin Jr. Scholarship, which is recognizing students, more than 33 last year, who keep a GPA of 3.5 or higher for 6 consecutive semesters. Now, for me, coming into our district, construction projects, they are huge. They mean a lot to us when we talk about the curb appeal of our district. And last year, we had a number of ribbon cuttings for Earl Hansen Elementary School, Horace Mann Early Learning Center, Edison Junior High School, with continuing to do the work of the 1% sales tax and putting in secure entryways to ensure that our buildings are safe for all our staff and students. We've even begun to do some work on our construction projects. Over the 2020 summer, we kept on working and moving with more than $2 million in construction projects that include bleacher replacements in our Rock Island Rocky Fieldhouse, Washington and Edison Junior High Schools, and now new roofing at Rock Island Academy. And also, we had a chance to do some major upgrades when you get to our stadium with new turf, with track resurfacing. And yes, the biggest improvement of all, we did some stadium restroom renovations. So we've got some new restrooms there. And we hope to use those in the spring when football kicks off. We also had when it gets to our athletics, we are very competitive, as you may well know. And for us in athletics, we had a number of programs that have done well. Students consistently being Metro pace setters, named to the all Metro teams. And we had a number of firsts take place last year. Our boys soccer teams, they were recognized by Mayor Tomes with having November 11th declared that day, but they brought home for the first time ever the regional championship title in Rock Island High School soccer history. And they won the Western Big Six Conference titles. So we have had girls golf teams, sectional qualifiers, our girls bowling teams placed at the state level. And we even started some new things this year with our first of having a new boys bowling team and a competitive cheerleading team. So we are going to continue to be competitive in athletics. Our Rocky program, our Rocky wrestling program has just been huge with regional champions and students making it to state. Athletics and academics go hand in hand. And we look forward to being competitive this year as well. So if you go into last quarter, spring led right into our intercession. We didn't know that when we left in March, that would be the last time that we get a chance to see students. So we really lost out on the fourth quarter of the year. And again, our hearts went out to all of our seniors, both athletes and musicians, and the last quarter of the year who didn't get a chance to perform as usual. But what it meant for us in that last quarter was that we would have to continue meeting the needs of our families by supporting them with meals, providing internet connectivity and devices, Chromebooks and software so that students could stay attentive and do work. It was a very fluid time for us with information coming from the state of Illinois, the governor and the Restore to Illinois plan. But what it meant for us, again, is that we had to continue working to get to the end of the year. And there was one thing very clear. Our teachers missed our students. We missed them being in our buildings. We missed seeing them daily. And so it led to a lot of teachers taking on the task of posting photos, using social media, doing house visits from the sidewalk, arranging drive-throughs for the end of the year send-offs. We tried to do everything possible to let them know that we missed them and we couldn't wait to see them again. And so when we got to our fourth quarter, there were a number of things that we had to continue moving forward with. And on this slide here, it just shows some of the important pieces that continued. We had to put together a system to distribute more than 118,000 meals to our families, to give out more than almost 2,300 Chromebooks to ensure that our students had what they need to move forward. It meant the implementation of placing over 100 cellular hotspots throughout our school community to ensure that all of our families had access to the internet. It means that we are going to continue to provide supports from our counselors, our social workers, and our paras to ensure that students know that we still care about them. So the fourth quarter was a lot of work and preparation to where we are today to start this year off. And things are kind of similar. We have to continue putting out surveys to our families where we reached the households of more than 5,000 individuals to get their input on how we'd start the school year. Would they be willing to send their children back in person, or if we'd start back full remote? And so in doing so, it's meant a lot of preparation in creating a return to learn program and plan for both remote learning and blended learning, all of which can be seen on our school district's website. But these are comprehensive documents that try to answer almost every question that would come up. And along with that, we've continued to prepare our buildings for that one day where we get a chance to transition back into blended learning. So that meant making sure that we have the signage, our buildings could be cleaned, we have the personal protective equipment, and ensuring that we're ready for that transition when it comes. So far this year, in the right before the school year started in August. We continue to give out more than 6,400 meal kits. And in each meal kit, there's 6 meals, 3 breakfasts and 3 lunch. So that equates to more than 38,000 meals that we gave out this summer. Right now in technology and with Chromebooks, you'll start to hear more about something that's called RockFi. Instead of Wi-Fi, RockFi is our own network where we're reaching out for our community, reaching out to our community's kids with fidelity to ensure that they are ready to be impacted by remote learning. And we're going to continue to support more than 1,200 students, including our special needs students that need that day-to-day instruction. We're reaching out to make sure that we try and meet all of their needs through remote learning, since that's where we're at right now. We had to continue moving forward this year. And what it meant is that since last year was the end of our previous strategic plan, a lot of work has been put forth to create our new strategic plan. We affectionately call it RIM, that's Rock Island-Milan 2025, but we put together a 5-year strategic plan because we know that it takes time to see improvement. It takes time to see everyone excel and move forward. And so in our new strategic plan, which means that we've had it approved by our Board of Education, and now we get to begin the early stages of implementation. That new strategic plan has a few changes to it. It means that we've created a new mission and vision. And our mission has always been to prepare students, but we want to prepare our children for individual success by providing a safe and inclusive quality education for a multicultural community. In our district here, we are diverse. We are a diverse community, and our diversity is one of our strengths. And so we have to ensure that we are working to make sure all of our students are successful in our community of Rock Island. We have a new vision, and it is to become a premier learning organization that enables students to achieve their maximum potential by equipping them with the necessary skills to be college, career, and life ready in this rapidly changing global society that we live in. So we not only have to prepare them for college, which is definitely important to us, but we have to prepare our students for the workforce, for jobs that are currently out there, and for new ones that will come up in the future. And we do that by giving them the core academics they need, but also honing in on those soft skills that will help to prepare our children. If you look at our core values in our district, and this is going to be something that we continue to move forward and press upon staff and students, but it is really geared towards looking at how we embrace and celebrate our diverse backgrounds. We continue to empower our staff to teach, lead, and serve by example. And we ensure that we have an equitable, safe, and inclusive climate for everyone. Academics is important for us because we are an educational institution, but we really do want to ensure that we become a community and regional asset. And that's a lot of our work for this year. So our new strategic plan has 3 main priorities that you can see there around engaging all stakeholders through building respectful relationships, by enhancing and improving our operations, both financially as well as our facilities. And finally, improving academic outcomes to close achievement gaps through ensuring that equity and opportunity is for all students. And we do mean all students. So we've got our work cut out for us. This won't be an easy task, but we know that over the course of the next 5 years, we plan to see some major improvements. And so some of the initiatives that I had a chance to be a part of last year with sharing my 100-day report after doing some, having some community meetings and hearing impact from surveys and from many of you, I was able to create that report on our next steps. Equity is going to be a huge part of our continued work and the measurements that we look at in our strategic plan, but also how we continue to work for cultural competence in our district, how we work to have policies that include inclusion for all. And lastly, it's our operating procedures. Many of you have shared and stated that our facilities and maintenance of our facilities has always been an issue. And so we are working to try and identify those areas that we can streamline and improve so that we can have effective policies and processes in our district, but also have buildings that are up to date and inviting to the eye. Those are just some of our initiatives from last year, moving into this year. And lastly, I'd like to leave you with just a little bit about our class of 2020 graduation procession. It was a great plan that came to work out for us. We know that you'll enjoy it, and we know all of our forthcoming graduates will want a piece of this as well. So go ahead, Holly, and share our procession.
You know, my words of wisdom for the class of 2020 is that we never know what to expect in life. We never know what's going to come in front of us. But as long as you continue to remain resilient, hardworking, and be determined, you're going to be successful at whatever you do. So be ready for the future, because we don't know what it brings. But once you run into it, keep going, keep working, and you're going to be successful.
I came in and I was expecting, this is going to be easy, we're just going to get this done. And then I kind of got here and it kind of hit me that, this is it. There's nothing else left to do except pick up the yearbooks, and then the diplomas tomorrow, Monday. Yeah, what day is this? But I will definitely miss my teachers, and I will miss the experiences that I experienced this year and my last couple years. But I'm ready to do my next chapter of my life.
Spring break and we never come back, but yeah, it just feels like an extended break. We're gonna be moving on, so yeah, it's kind of weird, but it was very beautiful. I got to see one of my coaches and say hi to him. He was taking pictures of everybody and just congratulating all of my fellow students, and that's one of the things that we get to do inside of the building every day through classes, meeting and greeting, and so getting to do that one last time has been very good. Yeah.
Before we left for spring break, we had no idea what was going to come of everything, and next thing we knew, our senior year was kind of, cut short a little bit, but I'm glad that we could have this graduation out here today, see everybody for one last time before we all leave. This summer, I'm looking forward to hopefully everything clearing up a little, being able to hang out with people some more, especially some of the restrictions are being lifted, so hopefully a little bit more laid back, nice summer before college.
When quarantine became a thing and things started to slow down and shut down, I found it as a really good time where I could just focus on myself and take some time to actually, do things that I really appreciate. For the first time, it's kind of ironic, I don't know if I should be saying this, but for the first time since I got into high school, I read books for fun, and I actually read some things that I like to read. As far as today goes, it was a pretty good idea based on, for the circumstances that we have. I think it was kind of clever to have us out here, spaced out reasonably, and still go through the whole idea and ceremony of a processional.
We took something that was not so well for the class of 2020 and we turned it into something that everyone's probably going to want to do from this point forward. It was a great event. The weather was phenomenal. Our students came in and they followed all our directions, and it was just our last opportunity to say thank you and congratulations on all the things they're going to do in the future.
that concludes our presentation. Again, everything was great up until that last point where our kids, they processed in perfectly and they were spaced out. I know that all the health experts would say, look at those kids walking out together. They're all close. But it was a great event. Like I said, kudos to everyone who had a part in trying to bring some normalcy back to 2020. It's been the beginning of 2020. It's been a tough year. And I think that our students enjoyed that. They thanked us for it. And we know that moving forward, everyone's going to want some type of an outside professional. I'll tell you, for a superintendent, it was great because it ended in 8 minutes instead of a speech that goes an hour and a half or 2 hours. So that part of it was lovely. But I look forward to a graduation this year. So again, I just say thank you for allowing me to give you our State of the Schools address. And so now I think that there's time for questions, if anyone has questions with respect to the information. And I'm looking at the chat box, so let's see. I think there's a question there. Dr. Lawrence, how would you assess the first month of classes in the remote model? I'm gonna say right now, with 4.5 weeks in, I've been visiting a number of classrooms from kindergarten through junior high and even high school. I'm gonna say that I think things are, we're adapting very well, but it's still a challenge because as much as we try to plan to have technology covered, internet access, and to have Chromebooks for everyone, making sure that our students are logging in during the day to answer the attendance questions, that becomes part of a challenge too. You know, we're still, even though we've been using this since March, in this first month of classes, counting for grades, it's meant a lot of work for our students too. We're trying to ensure that they log in daily, that they're completing assignments, that they're uploading assignments. So I'd say in this first 4.5 weeks of school remote, I think we're doing as well as could be expected. And we know that as long as we continue to progress more, students are going to become more familiar. Their parents are going to help us by becoming more familiar. And we would expect to see our students performing much better. There's another question here. Do you chart how many kids are reading and doing math at their grade level over time? And how are you doing this in regards? Well, right now we still will be putting forth midterm reports, which will actually come out the end of this week. So parents will be receiving information on how their children are doing in English and mathematics. You know, we're still, as a district, still working on the best way to report information, even with attendance, because we know that there aren't set things that have come down from the state with respect to how different districts are going to forward that information. But we will be keeping up with how our students are doing in both math and English language arts by looking at the progress reports, by looking at how they're graded at the end of each quarter. And we will have to use that information to help us determine how well our students are doing. There's a question here from Julie. Are there aspects of online learning that would be implemented permanently? I would say definitely. We've just, the COVID-19, and this is probably the most important positive part about it. The only positive part is that it has forced us to use technology more. It has forced us to be more resourceful in trying to ensure that we've honed our skills. So I see it being here forever. I don't think that there'll ever be a classroom teacher who's not using remote learning, doing online assignments, using Google Classroom, having students expected to log in at various times of the day. This is going to be something that's here permanently. And we're going to continue to improve on how we utilize technology.
Dr. Lawrence, this is John Wetzel. Have a question about classes that require group participation, such as band and music classes. How is that working, and what has been your challenges to get to that point today?
Well, if I use for an example our orchestra teacher, and they were just recognized by ISB, the Illinois State Board of Education. They put out weekly memos and weekly videos of things that are going on. But our orchestra programs, they've begun to use some software that allows the students to meet like we're doing here, where they get a chance to see everyone. But the programs allow them to perform individually and bring all those things together as if they were in the same band room performing. So it's definitely utilizing some of the new technology that's out here, but definitely it's still going to be difficult. You know, with Phi Ed classes, you know, you still have some warm weather where you might be able to do some things in a larger area outside, but it's really going to force us to think about how we continue to provide smaller chat rooms for students to go in and work as groups. We are trying to use the Google product is what we use more than Zoom, but we are trying to use it to its full capacity. So just like we're doing here in the meeting right now with all of us, and I think there were 61 individuals when I last looked at in this meeting, we are continuing to, this is going to be the avenue right now that we have to use to work with our music groups, whether it's orchestra, our choruses and what have you, but we are using technology that helps us to do that.
Thank you.
I see a question here, and I'll bounce back and forth between chat box and those that are here. There's a question, excuse me. Do you have an idea of how many students will be participating in the hybrid model versus online when you shift? And if so, can you provide an update on when you're expecting to shift? Right now, our plan is to go to the end of this first quarter, which ends October 2nd. We then transition right into our first fall intersession, which would end about October 19th. But our goal is to, just as it was today, it was supposed to shift today, the 8th, after Labor Day, but we are planning on making that transition after the end of the first quarter, pending everything that's going on in our community and our area. In our last survey, we had about 63% of our parents that said that they'd like to have their kids in a blended model. 37% of our families saying that they would still go full remote regardless of that. And so we take all those things into consideration in trying to move forward. But really, a lot of it is just looking at what's going on in the community with the rise in positivity rates in the Rock Island community. There's a question here. How has online learning worked for special education students? And I know I'm on the spot right now and answering lots of questions. I have some of my team members who might be here in this meeting as well. But we're definitely trying to work with those teachers. They have much smaller class groups to work with, which means that the students get a little bit more attention in those online classes. But it is definitely still a challenge, as you all can agree. Online learning will never take the place of having a teacher in front of you. That social interaction piece is huge. So I would say for right now, with our special education students, it's been a challenge for them, but I think it's been a challenge for a lot of our students because doing everything online, looking at a computer, not having the social interaction, it has an impact. But I'll tell you, in all those classrooms I've visited, and I've visited about 6 of them in the last 2 weeks, the students have been troopers, staff members have been amazing, and the interaction has been there. We're going to continue to try and improve on that as the year goes out. Are there any other questions? I think we've caught up to the chat box.
If there aren't any other questions, thank you so much, Dr. Lawrence, for your leadership in our community and our school district. We look forward to helping you serve the children of our district through our various initiatives. Thank you once again.
Oh, thank you all for your support. Thank you.
And with that, we close our meeting, remembering that this club exists to improve the quality of life for children and families in the Quad Cities and abroad,